What's going on YouTube? Just wanted to go over something that I found that I think is really cool. It's been out for a little bit, but may or may not be that well known. So as you probably know, I've gone over before, I open source tune, which means I have to take this laptop that's from 2005, missing various keys, into my car with me, that it needs to be plugged in pretty much all the time because it's got the battery is terrible on it and I can't really buy a replacement. So I wanted to find a fix for that, right? Like I'm sick of carrying my laptop around when I want to either flash or, more importantly, log. I log a lot more obviously than I flash. People with access ports, that's the one feature I will say is great about the access port, the logging capabilities, right? But A lot of people don't have access ports, or B, can't use access ports. I have a JDM ECU. You can't do Cobb access port with JDM stuff. And with the green speed, a lot of people may be going away from Cobb, they may be going to open source. So I wanted to find a solution to where I could at least log, if not flash, without having to lug my laptop around. So my first option was make my own kind of touchscreen Linux setup using a Raspberry Pi. I've done that a couple times in the past, played around with the Raspberry Pi, not made touchscreens, but pretty straightforward stuff. Kind of do that a little bit for work. So, but either way, I could have done that. But I found a simpler fix, which I didn't know existed until right now. And let me show you this. So you may notice this tablet in the car. There is now a tablet. Basically, this is an application that is free. BTSSM. I'll post a link in the description here. It basically connects to the ECU via the OBD2 port. You can see this kind of cable, this kind of weird junky thing I have set up for right now. This is temporary. It's basically, don't mind the sandals or the PJ pants, it's basically using the Tetrix cable that I have here. You do not need a Tetrix cable to do this. A Tetrix cable is great for logging, but it's mainly for flashing. That's the real benefit behind a Tetrix cable. You can actually buy a cheaper eBay $14 cable and accomplish the same thing. We're not flashing, we're just logging. That's all I'm demonstrating here. So pretty cool setup. As you can see, it's pretty like janky. I don't have a radio, so you set this up with things I had laying around the house for now, just to get it up and running. But the awesome part is, because I'm monitoring a lot of things, these are things that I'm really not monitoring, right? Like I can't monitor with a gauge, specifically the second and third, which is the feedback learning and fine learning knock correction, right? So those are things that you want to see when that's happening. I do have on my car set up right now via my ROM. Not everyone can do this. This is via Carberry, to where when it notices any feedback knock, fine learning, or feedback knock correction, the check engine light will flash to kind of alert me of that. But even then, I would much rather have this, to where this setup is really cool because if it senses fine learning or feedback knock, it will log. It'll automatically start a log, depending on the parameters that you give. I think it's like default is 10 seconds or something like that, to where you can see everything here will be logged. The throttle plate, the load, the intake air temperature, things of that sort. So, but you can see that it's connected right now. You look at the throttle plate. It's at 100%. If I give it if I turn the car on, and then you can see I'm pushing the gas in and out. So you can see that. Very quick, very fast polling, because it's using the SSM. The BTSSM stands for Bluetooth Subaru Select Monitor. We're not using Bluetooth. Bluetooth is going to be, I didn't even try. Bluetooth would probably be a lot slower in terms of its polling. I want something that's extremely fast, that's showing me a lot of data points for each millisecond, right? And the funny part is, this does log. You can just hit the defrost button to start a log, or you can actually, in the app, just tap it and start a log. It actually logs more data points than my laptop does. So my laptop, in let's say a 10-second log, there would be, in terms of the rows you would see in a data log, let's say there would be maybe probably 5, 6 per second. This will log 10 or 12 per second. So there's much more data being given to me. I can see what's going on a whole lot better. It's a lot clearer kind of view. And I'm just on the tip of the iceberg on this, right? There's a lot of different things that you can, there's learning view, so you can kind of see what's going on to diagnose fueling issues or things of that sort. You can add various fields. This is all the fields that are available to you you can use a gauge, or you can use the text, or you can log it or get an alert for that. Very cool stuff. Again, this app is free right now. I'll post a link to it. All you would need is an Android device. It's only for Android. All you need is an Android device, and then a cable for $14 with a USB-C to USB adapter. And that is pretty much it. Very, very, very cool stuff. I'm definitely going to set this up a little bit cleaner. The install right now, obviously it's not going anywhere. Like, I really have to really jam it to really make it like move. But I could use my phone if I wanted to instead for like kind of a smaller setup. Just as anytime I'm moving at all, I could just have that. But yeah, it's super, super convenient. Something that I wasn't aware of. That has been around for a while. The people that made this app were charging for it initially, and the things that came with it. But I guess as time progressed, they just gave it away for free. So again, I was going to code something up. For right now, this will work. I still may code something up because it's not going to be like something easy, or I want to be able to flash without having to bring my laptop into the car. And that's going to be a little bit more complex to set something up like that. I mean, even running like Windows on like a Raspberry Pi, because ECU Flash, the app that you need to flash, needs to basically run on Windows. And Windows is a pretty bulky operating system, so it's not really made to go on a Raspberry Pi, which is rather small. So I'll see if I can do something like that. But the logging, which is the majority of what I do anyway, I log quite a bit. I'm always seeing what's going on. I get the exact same parameters that I would get on my laptop, but I can get it on either my phone or this tablet, which is a larger display. That's the only reason I'm using that instead. Just super cool. I did not know this existed. Let's turn it on. And see what happens, so you can kind of see the gauges working. Okay, rather loud, but the car is warming up. But you can see, let's see if I can get the RPM gauge and both RPM gauges in the view there. There we go. So you can see really fast pulling, and you can see the AFR that it's registering from the stock air fuel sensor and the one right above it. Very similar as well, within like a tenth. And then boost, which I don't need this gauge really, or this gauge. This is more to tell me if what my gauges are showing match what the ECU is seeing. But then everything else, like the fine learning, the IM, obviously, the intake air temperature, which is something I wanted to monitor since I did that 3D printed headlight, which it definitely helps quite a bit on that. And then timing and the wastegate duty cycle. I just wanted to see what the turbo wastegate duty cycle is. Really cool stuff though. Really, to add a gauge, I'll just add one real quick. We'll do like speed or something. Speed gauge. There we go. So it freezes for a sec while it's getting the data, and then you can just, obviously I'm not moving at all, so it's not gonna really have. But you can quickly obviously I'm just throwing this together. You can quickly add any gauge you want. A lot of this stuff I just keep up to the side as text, just because it's easier to read min and maxes. But a lot of people just use gauges. Very, very cool setup. And this is gonna come in very handy. These logs look identical to the ones that I was getting from my laptop. Yeah, just super cool.